We have another very familiar looking floor, but this time instead of a pileated snagret and a burrowing snagret, we have jelly floats and cannon beetle larvae. I am actually slightly annoyed because this actually is my second attempt at recording this entire day because of a recording issue. I got to this floor and had to basically abandon the recording for that day, but it actually spawned right by the landing site, which made it very convenient, and there were actually no cannon beetles nearby either, so I was able to defeat it right away and get the treasure super quickly. But luckily we were able to lure it basically to the landing site anyway, so it didn't take that much longer than the off-screen attempt. I was worried for a moment that we'd have to basically fight everything, but yeah, we got another pretty good floor layout, so I am happy about that. This is the future orb for 200 Pokos. And now we have the fun task of actually leaving this place. First of all, we need to actually locate the exit. I don't trust the Pikmin being there, so we'll actually take them with us, just to be on the safe side. I hope it's in this one over here. I don't think it is. I don't see it, at least. The ones that are kind of like sheltered in the corner, that'd be really nice. Of course, it's going to be not in a very easy to reach spot. It's all the way over here. Actually, this one's not bad. What I'm going to do is leave a captain here. And that should be enough to distract it long enough to sneak behind it. I feel like the enemies in general prioritize captains over Pikmin in terms of like attacking. So yeah, we were able to slip right past, and we're good to go. But yeah, oftentimes the scariest part is like, okay, we got that really easily, now how do we leave here? And that ends up being the real challenge. But yeah, that wasn't actually that bad. Sublevel 7 has actually been giving me a ton of trouble, mostly because of weird enemy placements, like having the careening Dirigibugs and the bumbling Snitchbugs right next to each other, so when I'm fighting the Dirigibugs, the captain gets picked up, and then I lose control of the Pikmin, and then a bomb goes off. So yeah, in general, this was actually not a bad layout because of the puffy blowhog with the treasure being right by the landing site. We still might have to deal with a few careening Dirigibugs, but overall this isn't nearly as bad. So yeah, I am trying to be a little bit cautious here to avoid losing any Pikmin to explosions, but again, trying to fight all of these enemies at the same time is not the easiest thing in the world to do. I am trying to figure out what to do here, actually. Let's just make a run for it, pick up the treasure very quickly. This is the essence of desire for 90 Pokos. And now we have to figure out how to get out of this floor. So I distinctly remember this floor having the exit blocked off, which is why I'm a little bit worried about how to actually proceed here. I might have to defeat the enemies just to have a place to leave the Pikmin, or I could make a run for it, take a chance, and like with the white Pikmin for example, make a beeline and hope I get past everything. In the meantime, I'll leave Olimar with the Pikmin in case something goes wrong, so I can quickly round them up But yeah, let's just make a beeline for the exit, try to break this as quickly as possible, and yeah, we'll swap over just to make sure nothing's going wrong over here. Everything seems fine. But yeah, overall that was a much better layout because we didn't have to worry about like all of the enemies in one place. But yeah, that was still definitely a little bit stressful. We actually have a fairly unique floor here. We have this little area that kind of like, that's divided into like different tiers, essentially. And we have every element. So, again, red Pikmin would be kind of nice for this, but again, other types of Pikmin can deal with fire, and in some cases are better for dealing with fire than the actual intended type. I almost feel like yellow Pikmin, I'm trying to think of like which Pikmin are the most required and which ones are like the least required. I definitely think it is fire that's like the least necessary for a large majority of this game. But I also feel like the yellow Pikmin are mostly just used for electricity, and you technically can get through everything that's electric without actually needing yellow Pikmin. It's just, I really can't recommend doing that because of it being instant death if something goes wrong. Poison is required because a lot of things like the bridge and the gates, you literally can't work on those without white Pikmin, and thus you actually do need them. So yeah, they're basically required. Also, a ton of stuff is buried, so even without poison, they actually are very good for just clearing out, like just taking everything back for one thing, and also, yeah, dealing with, like digging up treasure. So yeah, I definitely feel like red Pikmin are at the very bottom for the least useful type, unfortunately, since they're always the first type. They're like the main Pikmin type, but they really didn't balance them well. I feel like Pikmin 3 actually fixed that problem by having like a very specific, a few very specific enemies that you basically have to fight with fire Pikmin, and they have it set up in such a way that it's a little bit tougher to get through these fights with different types of Pikmin. So yeah, I almost feel like Pikmin 3 is slightly more balanced. But yeah, in general, I definitely feel like the first game actually had the best balancing in terms of like using all three types of Pikmin a little bit in a more balanced amount, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it actually probably would be difficult to balance, like trying to make each type as useful as the other types, basically. And yeah, this game, I definitely feel like didn't quite succeed with that. Alright, so let's carry this over very carefully. Looks like the fiery Dweevil is going to cause problems. We can actually punch it now that we have the upgrade. This will be very effective, actually. But we do have to worry about that. We haven't actually seen it attack until now, but that's what it looks like when it actually does get an opportunity to attack. And we'll have to round up a few more Pikmin to carry that the rest of the way. I'm not entirely sure about routing in terms of like where they're going to take things. So that's a little bit concerning, to be honest. So let's toss a few Pikmin up here. We actually will be able to make this throw, no problem, like that. Again, the one benefit of having better cursor distance on this version. Yeah, which way are they taking it? They're taking it this way, which is, I don't know if that's better or not. It's through the path with the antenna beetle, so that might cause problems. Oh yeah, and there's poison here, so that's also going to cause a problem. One potential strategy is with the captains. You can kind of push the Dweevils in a direction, like they'll kind of run away from you, so you can actually kind of lure them closer to the landing site to make it a little bit easier to retrieve the treasure. Yeah, basically kind of push them towards the landing site. Yeah, this is a really weird floor layout, to be honest. Definitely not one of my favorites. that we've seen. In terms of just, like, really inconvenient, basically. Like, yeah, everything about this is super inconvenient. I mean, it doesn't help that we don't have red Pikmin, but even then, we actually didn't have to destroy that much fire, to be honest. A surprisingly small amount of fire was in the way. Another problem is the antenna beetle potentially luring Pikmin into the electricity, so let's be a little bit careful while fighting it, but we should be good to go. I will leave some Pikmin in our group to deal... it's getting dangerously close to the side there, so maybe I should destroy that. Yeah, this is definitely one of those floors that just, it takes a while. It's not difficult, but it's time-consuming. And yeah, you just kind of have to take your time and not rush through, and if you, yeah, don't take too many, like, huge risks. It's not overly scary, but definitely can go awry if you, like, yeah, try to rush through it. So yeah, it's good to try to be a little bit careful with dangerous sub-levels like this. Wow, that Pikmin really flew all the way over there for some reason. Yeah, be careful when other types of Pikmin are fighting, because it will eventually... We have the Possessed Squash for 180 Pokos. As I was saying, they will eventually counterattack, so you do need to be a little bit careful when fighting with, like, all types of Pikmin, especially with the electric ones, because again, that is instant death. Let's just use a purple Pikmin, try to stun it like that. And then carry this back the rest of the way, and we should be good to move on after we carry this back, and the exit is somewhere. We have the Extreme Perspirator for 150 Pokos. So yeah, definitely not the best run of this floor I've ever seen, but we got through it eventually. And we have another rest floor. We have a geyser to escape, and our next entrance. I don't really see much else. I'm guessing there's probably going to be, like, flint beetles or something, because otherwise there's, like, nothing here. So I guess we are going to move on to sub-level 10. Oh, there's the doodle bug. Yeah, let's just move on. We don't really need any more bitter spray. And we have another very familiar floor to one in the Hole of Heroes. Except this time, instead of, like, Hermit Crawdads, we have to deal with a Gatling Groink, which honestly is a lot scarier. We also don't have, like, Wollywogs around, so this will be very interesting trying to fight this with blue Pikmin, which actually I don't think we have done so yet. Also, there is actually a Wollywog. I didn't see it at first. So yeah, we haven't actually fought this without either yellow or purple Pikmin. It's actually in a really weird spot right now, so let's try to lure it over a little bit and then use a bitter spray. This is definitely a case where I do recommend using a bitter spray, again, because it will regenerate after a certain amount of time. Beyond that, though, this isn't too terrible. We also got some nectar, which is good because we do have quite a few leaf Pikmin. I'm pretty sure the jelly float has the treasure, so what we're going to do is lure it into the corner and fight it there. If all goes well, we might be able to get through this without too much fighting, but we'll have to wait and see, because it depends on how close the Pikmin pass by the other enemies. Let's use another spray just to speed this up. Alright, there we go. We have a few enemies to deal with. We might be able to get past them, though. Let's try something. I'm going to try to attack all these. This is not going to work, clearly. So abandon course on that particular strategy. Now we're kind of in a bad predicament here. Actually, we only have one at a time, so luckily this shouldn't be too bad. But again, we do have the bitter sprays as backups to speed this up. This is why, again, I do like to have a lot, even though there's basically like maybe 1 or 2 enemies that I think need, or they don't need to be fought with bitter spray, but it definitely helps. But it is good to have extras just in case you have an emergency where you have to like keep an enemy from attacking your Pikmin. Emergency! Pikmin are suffering. If you blow your whistle with B, you may be able to help them. Thankfully, we were able to save that Pikmin. We haven't actually seen that cutscene up until now, which I'm actually kind of impressed by, that we've actually never had a Pikmin catch fire long enough for that to play. The exit is also not blocked off, so that's very nice. So we'll set the precedent over there to make a quick getaway. Luckily, there's no other real threats in the way, so it's a straight shot to the research pod. This is the Talisman of Life for 90 Pokos. And that's everything here. This is another floor I remember very distinctly for being kind of tricky to get through. We have a very unique situation here where we have electricity right next to poison, which I do not like. That's a little bit too close. We also have a ball bear, a dwarf ball bear, and a swooping or a bumbling snitch bug. So first of all, let's try to take out the dwarf ball bear like so, and then deal with the electricity, and then we can head deeper into this cavern. Oh wow, we have a lot to deal with here. How do we even proceed? I think this will be a case of needing to swap Pikmin quite a few times. Just kind of gradually dealing with one thing at a time, and then switching over to the next group, basically. Some floors do end up like that, where you basically have to like divide and conquer, basically. You can't like tackle everything at once. That's a bread bug. I was like, for some reason I thought that was going to be a Hermit Crawmat for some reason, but yeah, it is definitely not. Yeah, this is the one that corresponds to this bread bug. Alright, so we don't have to worry about that one, assuming it doesn't snatch any of the treasure from over there. I actually see one of the treasures from here. This is a really weird layout. Like, I feel like this is just like pure chaos in how it's set up, and that everything is just kind of grouped together in one spot in a very inconvenient fashion. And that definitely does happen sometimes, where it's like, yeah, just put everything in this part of the floor and then like have nothing else anywhere else. That's kind of how it feels sometimes. Yeah, in general, obviously we did have to reset a couple times already, but in general, I actually do feel like this cavern is easier than the Hole of Heroes. It does feel like it's a little bit more easygoing. For one thing, we're not fighting a ton of bosses, essentially in a boss rush, so that helps. But yeah, even beyond that, a lot of the enemies are a lot more manageable. It might also help that, again, a lot of these floors are essentially reused from other caverns, so we are a little bit more used to like their layouts than for some of the other caverns that we've seen. But again, it is kind of interesting that it does feel like a lot of areas are essentially reused. And even though it's randomized as well, I am definitely in trouble here. We have to defeat this Cloaking Burn very quickly because of it digesting a Pikmin. We're also using a spray there just to get through that a little bit safer. Again, this is why it's good to have backups. We're already down to 2 bitter sprays, which is definitely enough to get through this, but definitely not the smoothest run of this cavern, of this floor. I definitely kind of rushed more than I should have. I definitely should have taken my time, tried to clear out the enemies like one by one. And yeah, that definitely caused some issues. But we got through it, no casualties, so let's start carrying this back. This takes 25 Pikmin to max out. I do want to max that out, actually, because of the bread bug, otherwise it'll start pulling it towards its nest. So yeah, you do want to put as many Pikmin as possible on a treasure when you have a bread bug, to avoid it being like, yeah, pulled into the bread bug's nest. It's a little bit preoccupied anyway, but still, it's good to not have to worry about that, to be honest. Alright, in the meantime, let's start clearing out the exit. While they're carrying all that stuff back, it'll probably be a little bit. For 110 Pokos, we have the Boss Stone. I'll be honest, that arrived a lot quicker than I was expecting. Alright, so let's start chipping away at the exit. Actually, now that the poison is gone, we can actually use all of our Pikmin for this, which will definitely speed things up considerably in a moment. And we have the Yellow Taste Tyrant for 100 Pokos. I definitely feel like I've been taking too many risks in this cavern. I mean, so far it's worked out, but again, I need to be a little bit careful going forward.